Okay, guys, so today I want us to first look at our objective for the day. Our objective is why did the Castilians are the Spanish, why did the Castilians want to take over the Indies? So now I want us to think of our previous lesson and how we learned about the geography of the Caribbean and the European nations that were involved in the region. And we remember that one of these nations was Spain. And when Spain sailed off to the Caribbean, when Columbus arrived to the Greater Antilles, he met a people called the Taínos. And our part of what I want us to do today is analyze that interaction that they both had. So, going back again to our previous class, we know that the Europeans wanted access to something. They wanted these things called cash crops, things that you can grow that can make a lot of money. So they wanted sugarcane, right? They wanted cocoa, they wanted tobacco, and all these things that you can't grow in Europe. It just doesn't grow very well out there. So they wanted that, but they also wanted something else. They wanted what we call spices. So spices are things like pepper, things like turmeric, and things of the sort. So back in this era, you could use these spices to spice up your meats, you know. But the thing is, meat at this time, there was no refrigeration, so the meat went bad all the time. And what happened now was once your meat got slimy and putrid and kind of stinky, but was still edible, you would put some spice into that meat, and suddenly you could eat it and you could cover up the smell, and it was great. And these spices, the fact that you were able to do this to save on a lot of meat, basically, made spices worth their weight in gold. They were incredibly expensive. They were very hard to get because you could only get them on the other side of the world. And the only people that were able to get them were the Portuguese and the Venetians. And basically, all of Europe was at their mercy whenever they wanted to get spices. So, you know what? Spain kind of thought to themselves, we could get those spices ourselves. We could get in on some of that spice mula, some of that money. We want it, we'll go take it. So what happened next is this man called Christopher Columbus. He approaches the Queen of Spain, and he says, "My queen, I got a deal for you. We are going to get rich together. And what we're gonna do is I am gonna go over to the Americas. I'm sorry, I'm gonna go over to India, and I will get us a truckload of spices, and I'm gonna make us super rich." The Queen of Spain agreed to him. He said, "Feel free, you can go make us some money." He left with his three ships. He sailed across the ocean, and he finally, after 3 months, his men were about to mutiny and they were about to throw him aboard, but he eventually found land. And when he did, he took off, he got off his ship, and he met a people called the Taínos. The Taínos are people that lived in the Greater Antilles area. Actually, in the Caribbean, there are two main people, the Taínos and the Caribs. But right now, we'll focus on the Taínos. The Taínos were mostly very peaceful. When they met with the Spanish at first, they mainly just wanted to trade, and they were overall like just curious about them. And it's this first interaction that I want us to understand and analyze very well. And we're going to do that through our activity. So what I want us to do now is I will give you guys a handout. And today we're going to read Christopher Columbus's journal. And in his journal, it's what he wrote literally on the first days when he met the Indians. So this is a huge historical thing. I'm super excited to give you guys. He described his first interactions with the Taínos, the natives of the Bahamas, Cuba, the island of Hispaniola, the Dominican Republic, and Haiti. And we will read this journal together and as a group. And every time you catch something about Columbus's intentions towards the Taínos and towards the land, towards the Caribbean, I want you guys to highlight that and annotate it. That's going to be our main goal for now. I will start off the reading, and once we're done with our group readings, I want us to write an essay based on what you guys annotated. And the goals for this essay are going to be the following. It has to be double spaced. It has to have, at a minimum, an introduction, 3 well-developed paragraphs, and a conclusion. I want every paragraph to have a premise and an argument. So your arguments have to be backed up by premises. And okay, so I will have that written on the board, and it'll also be in your worksheet. But for now, let's start off with the reading and see what Columbus had to say about the first time that he landed in the Indies and he met the Tainos.